From Rochester, New York, the city that knocks 'em dead with Susie B, Freddie D, and the Mount Hope Cemetery, this is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. Starring Billy DeTore, Tanya Metris, and Chris Frank in stunning grayscale. And here's your host, Chris Frank.
Yay me!
Yay you!
Yay me! Hi Billy.
Hi Chris.
Hi Tanya.
Hello.
Hello Wayne.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us again.
All right, no problem.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, isn't Rod Serling buried in Mount Hope?
Is Rod Serling buried there? I know he died in Rochester.
He died
Rochester General.
I thought he died at Strong.
I thought he died at
Tanya,
General.
mistress of the research.
But
Can
I
you
thought
find
he
that
was
up?
buried in
He might be.
I know he's local. Isn't he from the Ithaca area?
Yeah, he's Ithaca.
Yeah. And his daughter still lives in that neck of the woods.
Yeah.
She comes up every so often for various talks and whatnot.
Lakeview Cemetery, Interlake in Seneca.
There you go.
Okay.
So,
No kidding. So
The answer is no to your question.
Okay.
However, we do have some information on that one. The legendary host himself. You're now entering a dimension of sight and sound.
The new Twilight Zone is pretty good.
Is it? Is that the
Yes.
one? Who's behind that one?
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. Okay.
And I know in a couple weeks, Fathom Events does those one-night-only things at movie theaters. There's the 60th anniversary
Yeah.
of Twilight Zone. Coming 6 episodes plus some extras and Rod Serling biography type of thing. So I might go to that. I love the Twilight Zone.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I have not checked it out.
And the
stuff
new
yet,
one,
but-
the new one, you can either watch in color or black and white.
Oh, you can choose?
You can choose.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. I like that. Now, have they tapped a lot of the classic episodes, or
There's stuff in there if you know the classic. Like in
There's
one
Easter
of them,
eggs.
Yeah, Easter eggs. They're one of them. They're space guys. Their suits. They all say Whipples.
okay?
It's like, oh, that's the brain center, and it's like, yeah, they do a lot of stuff. They did my Nightmare. They do a new version of Nightmare at 30,000 feet.
Okay.
So yes, they do. It's pretty good.
Nice. Billy!
Hey, Chris.
How you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm very good. I'm boring. I like too much just staying home with Susan and the cats to have many adventures, but
There's
having,
nothing wrong with
yeah.
that, man. I'm telling you, I've learned to appreciate some quiet time at home lately. Mm-hmm. You know, with as chaotic as our lives have been, you know, with everything going on with the convention, with our regular work day, with, you know, the kids, with dog, et cetera, having those moments to just kind of sit back and put your feet up and say, all right, this is as far as I'm going today. Those days are treasured, man. So I completely respect that.
So I don't have any good stories about adventures in Radioville or anything, but
It's all right. You don't need it all the time.
I get up too early. So
We got some sunshine for a change of pace. Look at that.
wow,
That's
look at
amazing. If you don't
better
like the
than
weather
the-
in Rochester, just wait 5 minutes.
that.
Other
Literally,
than the rain
because
and the fog that we
We've been
saw
seeing
last
it
week.
all. We have been seeing it all in the past couple of
Tanya
days.
and I just went upstairs to the candy machine, and it was pouring.
Yeah.
Come downstairs, and it's bright sunshine with a blue sky.
The difference of time, 5
And-
minutes.
and
Yeah.
levels.
Yes. Yeah, she went up to the 17th floor, and it was pouring up there. But, you know, you come down 10 feet, and, you know, now it's bright and sunny. Yeah, okay. Hang on there. Hi, Wayne. I'm about to get my ass kicked from my right side over here. Oh, hello. Whoa, okay.
Are you trying to pick him up by the back of his neck like a cat?
Yeah, scruff.
I don't think I could.
So one of the main reasons I wanted to bring Wayne in today is because he has such a great depth and knowledge of science fiction.
And we missed him.
And we've missed him. We haven't seen him in a while. And so I'm glad that he's been able to join us the past couple of weeks. And, you know, in sci-fi people, there's a lot of folks who are just casual observers, right? So sci-fi is all encompassing. It just means this thing.
Yeah.
But there are different nuances and echelons and types just with it. Sci-fi is
Yes.
like a general heading. And then you've got hard sci-fi and
Soft sci-fi.
and cyberpunk and space
steampunk,
opera.
Yeah, space opera.
You know, stuff like that. And so, you know, like Star Wars is not really sci-fi in your opinion. I think you and I have talked about this
It's
before.
fantasy, I think.
Yeah, and I think you've even brought up the space opera aspect of it as well.
Yeah, it does have space opera.
You know,
into
because
it.
it's not looking at the future. It's not showing you technology that we haven't. It's an everyday thing for them. It creates the setting for the drama of the story. So, in your opinion, what exactly would be hard sci-fi? What is that classic kind of solid hard? Is that Asimov, Bradbury, Ellison, stuff like
but
that?
they've all written some of everything. Like David Weber's been doing a lot of the Anna Harrington books, and those are hard. Well, those are space opera. But they're kind of hard science, too. If you look at, who would I say? Maybe Heinlein. Heinlein was a lot of hard science fiction.
It's that Robert or Richard Heinlein?
Robert
Heinlein.
And Clark. Clark definitely hard science fiction.
Okay. And that's the guy who behind the 2001 series.
2001, yes.
The Space Odyssey. Sorry, Odyssey was David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Yeah. And then, you have different genres, different types, different feels. What's your favorite, and what brings you to science fiction the most? What's going to be that catnip that gets Wayne's attention?
I don't know. I've been reading a lot lately, and I watch stuff, and there's a lot to watch. Too much to watch.
Yeah.
One of the ideas I have for a panel is at FC3 is like, I got rid of my $80 a month cable bill, and now I got $100 a month streaming bill.
Yeah, we've discussed that.
We've had a podcast about that. Yeah, we've done a podcast about how the streaming services can be just as dangerous as the
because there's
cable
something
services.
on every one I'd want to watch, and I have to buy every one to watch it, and it's like
that's the trap, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like
But the thing is, I came to the conclusion that I didn't mind spending a little bit more because I knew exactly I was getting what I wanted for a change.
Yes,
I wasn't getting 1,000 channels of crap and like QVC and all these other channels that I would never watch. I'm getting stuff that I actually wanted to get my hands on, which kind of softens the blow a little bit more in terms of spending that money on. You might be spending a little bit more, but you're spending it on something you actually wanted to see,
right.
Which makes it a little easier. So.
But yes, hard science fiction. I think I don't know. I like lots of science fiction. I read fantasy. I read lots of stuff. I just finished the Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Cowell, and I'm about to start one by Tim Pratt. I can't remember the name of it because he's the author guest of honor at PhilCon next month.
Okay,
and so I decided I should read some of his stuff. And there's just so much stuff out there to read, and same thing. There's so much stuff to watch too. And
do you ever get overwhelmed? I mean, I mentioned in last week's episode, I've seen you now as a science fiction fan for 30 years. Is that possible? When we mentioned your TV show last week,
your TV show was in the 80s, wasn't it?
Late 80s.
No, it started. When did you do our first one? 82, 83?
Okay, so over 30 years.
What was it called? I'm sure I could
Reality Fast Forward.
So you've been a science fiction fan. We discovered you're in your 60s now. So I'm assuming you've been following science fiction since 10 to 15, somewhere in there?
Probably around 10. My first books were like the Danny Dunn series, like Danny Dunn in the Homework Machine, Danny Dunn in the Anti-Gravity Paint. Stuff like that.
So do you ever go back to your early favorite stuff?
Yeah.
Or is there always...
One of the books I like is The Runaway Robot by Lester Del Rey. And that's juvenile science fiction where kid and his robot, they got to leave Ganymede, but they can't take the robot. So the kid decides to take the robot and stow away and get back to Earth. Yeah.
So, to me, it's as never-ending as trying to catch up on every movie you've missed. Is there stuff? Do you have just stacks of books that you haven't read but really want to?
I think we all do.
Yeah.
And I haven't read my comics in the last month.
You just go get your pull list, bring it home.
I get my pull list, bring it home. I haven't bagged or boarded them, but I'm gonna.
Yeah. Me too.
We all have that. And seriously, we all have that. We're like, we have that stack we're going to get to eventually, I promise.
I got close a couple months ago, and then I stopped, and now I just have another stack of things.
A couple months ago, I had a Saturday or a Sunday. I was home that weekend. It was my alternate D&D weekend, so I don't have anything to do that weekend, and I bagged and boarded a bunch of stuff, put it away, which just sucks because it's like 30 boxes of books, and I got them alphabetized, and I got to move them around to get to put them in the right spot. And it's like, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Moving the boxes to put the Z's over here and the B's over here and the and they're in alphabetical order, and they've got them like stacked like 4 high.
Well, you've commented on my dilemma. Do I move my Jimmy Olsens from J to S for Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen?
It's under J for Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, it currently is, but people are right. It is Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
But the new version of Jimmy Olsen on my software comes under Jimmy Olsen, not Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. So,
but I've got a lot of comics to move.
Yeah.
But,
and the boxes fill up.
Yeah.
And then you got to move everything
to
make space. And you want to make enough space so that the next time you have space. And before you know it, it's full too.
What do we know, between all of us, what do we know about the history of science fiction? Is it something that's been around for only a recent period of time? I mean, we can all reflect back on Jules Verne, who wrote
Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley, and because Frankenstein's kind of science fiction, more than horror.
Because they call Mary Shelley the mother of science fiction. Then you can also, if you want to include Greek mythology.
I wasn't planning on going that far back, but yeah, we could probably work with that.
Yeah, you got Beowulf.
Beowulf is more fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fantasy, but it's still...
Is science fiction a big umbrella that fits a lot of stuff?
A big umbrella that fits everything. Everything's science fiction, then you branch off into all the different... things.
It's sort of like rock and roll in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that includes soul and rap. And
So science fiction is more than just spaceships and laser beams.
Well, I think so.
So many historians believe that science fiction is as old as civilization itself.
Really? That's interesting. Do they give an example in that particular write-up?
A few of the earliest surviving works of ancient science fiction literature included the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, yeah.
The ancient literary relics.
Ooh, I hated him with the Smurfs.
I'm telling you.
That's Gargamel.
That's Gargamel.
Oh.
The ancient literary relics Ramayana?
I think that's Indian.
And Mahabharata, as well as Arabian Nights, Lucian's The True Story, and others.
But see, that's fantasy kind of. That's not
precursors of science fiction because they exhibit the fantastical elements, although they lack the characteristics that really make up science and technology.
So it's kind of fantasy science.
That they are likened to modern science fiction, including the mechanical birds, the idea of time travel, human-like machines, the concept and quest for eternal life, as well as others.
Icarus, who with the wings.
Icarus and Daedalus.
Don't fly too close to the sun.
Yeah. So it is kind of science fiction, but they didn't have science back then. They had mythology, and they had...
It was then called proto-science fiction.
Yeah.
Proto-science.
It has elements that are associated with science fiction before the recognition and acceptance of science fiction as a true and distinct genre.
So there you go.
So there you have it.
So science fiction's been around a long time.
Yeah. It just seems to be that thing that just kind of popped up in since the 40s, 30s, 40s, 50s. War of the Worlds and
it became
Foundation. And
because I'm going to PhilCon, and this year's PhilCon is the 82nd PhilCon. And I think they started in 1936.
Wow.
And
PhilCon, now is that Philadelphia?
Yeah. Except it's in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. But it's Philadelphia.
Did it start in Philadelphia and
move?
move?
Yes, it started in Philadelphia.
Was it a guy named Phil
born
involved?
and raised?
No. And it's like, well, it costs money to be in Philadelphia, and the Adams Mark got torn down like the Radisson's being torn down out here.
Yeah, we're hearing that.
So they went to... The next bigger place was Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which is right across the river.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it wasn't that huge of a jump for them.
No.
Got it.
It's just a jump to the left.
And then a step to the right.
Put your hands on your hips.
And bring your knees in tight. It's,
that was...
So we keep going with it? That's a little science fiction, isn't it?
It is.
That is a lot of science fiction.
Creating a new monster. It's definitely like Frankenstein.
It's the whole thing. Frankenfurter in this case.
Frankenfurter.
Boy, oh boy. Where are we going with this?
I don't know where are we going.
Where are we going with this?
That was at the cinema the other week.
Was it?
Yeah.
It pops up. It's like
midnight movie for the 26th.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show is that one movie you're just never ever going to get rid of. It's always going to pop up somewhere.
Yes.
It's a cult classic.
It didn't start out that way.
No.
But it ended up that way.
Yes.
And the new version that they did on Fox was really bad.
It was. We've talked about that one. Yeah, it was wow. That's all I'm going to say.
It's like, how could you make something so bad?
Well, even watching it on Glee was like,
Yeah, but Glee was better than.
Glee was better than.
But it was still awkward to watch on Glee type thing. So.
Rocky.
So, Billy.
Yeah, sir.
For you, what kind of encompasses science fiction?
See, I think my version of it is the bigger part of the umbrella. To me, it's almost anything that involves someone in outer space or, like I said, laser fights or like Star Trek. To me, was my first exposure in my head to science fiction. But is Superman science fiction? Wayne, you're the big Superman fan.
It depends. Yes, because you got
he came from another planet.
From another planet.
But
that can be a monster movie depending on your perspective.
That's true. It has been.
Yeah.
Brightburn, which is the
I haven't seen
evil
that yet.
version of Superman.
I've heard about that one.
Yeah,
isn't that just recent?
Either. Yeah,
is it recent?
Okay.
It was on Netflix, right?
I don't know if it's on Netflix now, but it was at the theaters for a while.
Like, I know Lord of the Rings isn't science fiction.
It's fantasy.
But you won't be able to convince the people that I work with that it's not. So it's
really?
Because it doesn't involve normal people doing normal things on
They are
So
what
just
we
lump it right
consider
into
Earth.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
They are normal people doing normal things.
Well,
But it's definitely fantasy.
yeah, it's fantasy. But to the what I call normal people who don't call themselves
the geeks?
the John DeTulios
mean
and
the-
Brother Weezes of the world.
the mundanes?
Yes.
The mundanes.
The muggles. If
The
you
muggles.
The muggles.
There we go. That's it.
They're our version of muggles. Anything that isn't Scorsese or
You know, Scorsese's had a few words to say about the
Yeah.
Marvel movies.
And
Yeah.
Coppola joined him recently.
Yes.
So, and we kind of talked a bit about this, I think a little bit on Nerd World News. Dan and I were chatting about it. So my response to Scorsese and Coppola is that they're not movie makers. Scorsese and Coppola, they're artists. Okay? So, their medium is film,
Yes.
but they're artists. They're painters, right? They're storytellers in their own way.
It's the same way as fine art versus comic books.
Yeah. And so you're not going to, if your life is immersed in making art, then you're not going to be able to appreciate, the trials and tribulations of the MCU. You're not going to be able to see that character development and that inspirational quality. And, there's a human struggle there within all of this flash and bang. You're not going to be able to appreciate that like the common folks like we are. The folks who go to these movies because we love everything about the nuance of it. And then there's folks who go just because they want to see things blow up and people, have cool powers and whatnot. And that's cool too. It appeals to them. But you have artists and they're commenting on somebody else's work. And so I'm wondering, I say that, I'm trying to separate that, but I'm also saying, why should I care about their opinion to begin with? And now for Coppola, I have a very special message. I've got 2 words for you, Francis Ford Coppola. Godfather 3. Please stop talking right now. It's like, holy cow, really? You throw out a dud and you're going to go ahead and bang these people who've been making billions of dollars. Gotcha.
Right.
No problem.
It's not
Okay.
about the billions of dollars.
It really isn't. When it
that's
comes
the
right down
whole
to it,
thing.
it isn't. It really isn't. It is the art and the medium.
Look at what will get nominated for an Academy Award this year, or a Directors Guild Award, or or a Screen Actors Guild Award. The only thing that might get nominated this year is Joker.
Billy was even saying something about that
I
because
was
of Joaquin Phoenix's performance.
Yes.
It was amazing. It really was amazing how he portrayed Joker.
But that's more like Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver
Yes.
than because there are no heroes in Taxi Driver.
No.
It's just De Niro.
Yeah.
And isn't this the same kind of thing?
It actually is. I made the same point. There isn't a likable character in Joker.
So does that make Joker really a comic book, sci-fi, fantasy kind of movie,
only
or is it
reason
more
why-
of a dramatic character piece?
Only because he has a
Joker.
history
He's a
of
comic
being.
book hero.
Okay, a villain.
It's like Catwoman, the Halle Berry Catwoman.
Oh, God, don't talk about that movie right now.
But it was
It's-
Catwoman, but it wasn't Catwoman.
Yes.
It was Catwoman only because it has history of being Catwoman, but she got her powers from Bast, I think. And it had nothing to do with the DC universe.
No,
But
it really didn't.
Everybody knew it did. She wore the
It
same.
was the unspoken tie-in.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to talk about that movie just for a second because it wasn't horrible. It was close.
Which one?
Halle Berry's
Catwoman.
Catwoman. I think it was the camera angles and the CGI.
Razzies? Didn't it win all the Razzies?
Oh, won all the Razzies. For me, what
And
really
she
hurt.
went to accept them.
Yeah, I know. That's how brave that woman is. That's why I love her so much. I respect her for that. But I think the thing that really threw me off was the bad CGI and the vibrating camera angles. And they were constantly running around like they're trying to give you that whole sense of the cat moving rapidly through every situation. But it made me nauseous. It was terrible. I couldn't watch the movie. I couldn't watch the cool action because of the way the camera angles were structured, the cinematography was structured. So it just enhanced the fact that the story was really not that strong. So that's what made it such a bad movie for me. But anyway, that's another story entirely.
But back to the science fiction thing, is Sin City science fiction?
No.
Wait.
Why not?
Because it's really not, in my opinion, it's not science related. I mean, it's a comic book movie. I know it's based on a graphic novel, but I don't see much in terms of
No, I would
Futurism.
say it's not. Oh,
I don't see much in terms of futurism in that movie.
it's just a regular cop show.
Yeah.
Just
But to me, the world that it inhabits is pretty similar in the way I view it to Escape
from New York.
Yeah. It's sort of
But Escape from New York in its own way is more of an action movie than a science fiction movie.
Yeah, but
it only takes place. It takes place in the future.
Mm-hmm.
They injected Kurt Russell with that little
Nano exploder.
Yeah.
which doesn't exist. I mean, to me, that has science fiction elements.
And they've walled off New York City. They walled off Manhattan.
Which is tempting.
But outside of that, it's just, I don't know. It depends on what makes science fiction. Because if you look at Flowers for Algernon, that doesn't have a whole lot of science fiction. It just has that they fixed a guy who was basically had some
He was mentally retarded.
Well,
that was the way they described it back then.
Yes.
I mean, we can safely say we're not trying to be, judgmental or anything like that. The person was classified as mentally handicapped.
And then they fixed him. And then his life changed. He wasn't the same person.
Right.
And then he started getting worse again.
And then he regressed.
Yes.
Because it didn't take on a permanent
he got
level.
Back to being was he better as smart, or was he better not smart?
We did this play when I was in high school. It was the first time I was ever on stage. I had a part in the play. I was not Charlie. I was one of the lab assistants or anything like that. But I remember watching it kind of unfolding and watching the story, and you get to know a story when you're playing in it. Mm-hmm. And it felt to me that the message was be comfortable with who you are,
right?
Not about what other people want you to be. And that was my takeaway from it. Is you see this rise and fall, and then it's essentially a rise again of Charlie in the main character, because he was a very easygoing soul. He was happy. He knew he had limitations. He didn't care. He had a decent life for somebody who had a challenge. Mm-hmm. And
people loved him.
Yeah. And then he became this phenomenon. And then he regressed. And when he was the phenomenon, you could see the stress of society. You could see that.
Because he understood how he's being viewed.
Right. He understood how he was being viewed. He also understood what he was missing.
Yes.
Because of his change.
Yes.
So for me, stuff like that, I don't, it could probably qualify as science fiction because of the procedure that created the whole story flow. But I saw that more of a character piece because you see this flow, this arc of the character itself. So that was kind of cool. I didn't expect to talk about that one. That's neat.
I can honestly say I haven't ever read it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good play.
It's a good Cliff Robertson movie also.
Yeah, I was going to say that's...
Is it similar in a way to the Robin Williams movie Awakenings?
Yes.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, yeah.
Where the people... Yeah, it's almost exactly like Awakenings.
And De Niro's in that one, isn't he?
Yes. De Niro's in that one.
He's the patient?
Yep.
Right.
He's the one who gets awake.
Right.
And then you find out, wow, I've been awake, and what have I missed? And you've missed a lot.
So is science fiction about setting? I mean, like a lot of episodes of Star Trek could be done as not Star Trek. You could put them
Just character pieces, dramas, crime procedurals. Mm-hmm. You could put them anywhere. You could take that story out, modify the setting and the characters, and boom, you've got yourself some good old-fashioned human drama. And I think that's one of Star Trek's strong suits, is being able to connect. Doctor Who does the same thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Doctor Who, you don't even there are some episodes you don't even need the time travel aspect of the show. It's just the engine to get you into the situation. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why these particular shows are so appealing. Star Wars is often talked about as the penultimate science fiction by the people who don't armchair quarterback it like we do, right? Mm-hmm. But you can take Star Wars story, lift it out of George Lucas's
world
universe there,
which he stole from other sources.
He's never been ashamed to admit that either. And then you can drop it into Arthurian legend. You can drop it into modern day.
I mean, it's a Western.
It's a Western. It's this, it's that, and the other thing.
You classic good versus evil.
Yeah. You can adapt it for an episode of Firefly for all we care. And that's, I think, the way that Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, these things have become so popular is because of the way they can connect on several different levels.
But I know a bunch of people that won't see and haven't seen Star Wars, won't watch Doctor Who because they are science fiction.
Yeah. Well, DiTullio.
Yeah.
He talks about it often.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
He's my arch enemy.
He's
my Joker.
Weird.
Or I'm his Joker.
I've said this before. I would love to.
Wouldn't you
I would love,
ask him if he likes
quick.
Rudy?
I would just, Rudy. There you go.
I throw out stuff like that all the time, to be honest with you.
I would love to bring him in for a recording with us sometime. Bring him to the podcast for an afternoon, so we could talk about his opinion of things. And so I don't want to challenge him too hard, but I want to see why he says what he says about these things. I almost wonder if he's that dyed in the wool because he just wants to get a rise out of people.
No,
he's really just that.
He's that guy. I heard him on his own show for many years before I ever knew him. Where if his producers brought up Star Wars, Star Trek,
he just would shut it down.
Yeah,
I would love to bring him in to ask
Dale
him why.
is a big nerd too. And, and he brings it up, and it's just his reaction.
I loved at the time that you got him. Because he was talking about fantasy football with Moran, and you went D&D. Running into the studio and started challenging him on, basically set it up.
Yeah,
and then he set it up, and he was like, he knew where you were going, like about halfway through the comment. But it's D&D for jocks. Yeah. It's really it. And you had him.
You're drafting your team.
Had him. Yeah. And he just he snuck out of it because he just didn't.
Well,
want
he considers sports real, but they're only real because someone sat down and made up rules, just like you make up rules for Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
You guys, when you play your games, you have a set of rules, and this is what you do, and that's exactly what football and baseball and basketball are: a set of rules.
Well, does he play board games?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Not unless his wife makes him.
I can't imagine it's too fun in the DiTullio household.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Crimes against humanity?
Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity.
Would it be Crimes Against Humanity in that house?
He has his own fun, and that's fine.
Yeah. I guess, it's something for everybody.
Yeah.
But I would love to have somebody like that in the studio with us sometime.
But my point is you're allowed to like more than one thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
I can like both sports and comic books.
Mm-hmm. I do.
And I'm fine with it.
Yep.
So, I don't know. That's just me.
And we know that John's not going to be listening to this podcast whatsoever, so...
I don't think he could find a podcast.
Oh, so he's a Luddite, too.
Maybe. Actually, I'm going to give him more credit than that. He'll find podcasts.
His daughter will find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His social media secretary.
His social media thing.
Gemma, the Wonder Girl.
Yep.
Anyway.
We love you, DiTullio.
No, we don't.
I do.
I
know he's good. He's good people. He's just weird.
We're just picking on him in regards.
And he
to
considers us weird. So.
Well, good. That's all.
Okay.
It's all balancing out.
Well, that's how it used to be. All science fiction people
we are
were
ruling
weird.
the world.
And now
we shall inherit the earth.
His phone, his whole world is us.
Yeah.
Developed by us.
Yeah.
And his sports and everything is developed by us.
Mm-hmm.
But
my first real taste of science fiction book. I grew up I discovered Doctor Who when I was 8. Star Trek was a given thing that was on syndication, so I remember seeing it all the time. Star Wars, I saw that when I was 7. Yeah, I get all that. But I think the first book that I felt was science fiction was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
yes, it is.
See, that was way after I discovered science fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in junior high, high school.
I think
probably.
I got a copy signed by Adams.
Nice.
Yeah, me too. Did you go
when he came here
to RIT U of R?
Yeah, and when he came here.
Yes.
Same thing with Harlan Ellison when he came here.
I was 12 when I discovered Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I remember reading it in my room at home and just laughing and laughing and laughing. And my mother, asked me what I was reading. I said, "Oh, it's just this British sci-fi funny book, sci-fi comedy book." Oh, okay, because my mom loved everything British. I mean, I was raised on PBS. That's how I discovered
That's
Doctor
where
Who.
everything is.
Yeah, that's how I discovered Doctor Who and All Creatures Great and Small and Blake Seven and stuff like that.
Douglas Adams, admiration, if that just outright, love of Monty Python.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Where that's where hitchhikers get Doctor Who. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy
Got a lot of
its sense of humor is from Monty Python to me.
And I honestly think, Tanya, if you ever got a chance to read this book, I think you'd enjoy it. I'm just saying.
I'm glaring at Billy because he's brought up Monty Python
She
twice.
hates Monty Python.
She doesn't hate Monty Python. She just is not familiar with it.
It's like
She tried to be familiar with it. I think she's
the
going to
give her
Dead
points for
Parrot
trying.
sketch.
Oh, that's the best. That's
Are
classic.
you talking about the dead parrot?
Yes.
He's bleeding demised. He's pining for the fjords.
I've paid for an argument.
See, Tanya's not. You've never read Hitchhiker's Guide then?
No, I have not.
Okay. You won't like it.
Doctor Who's in it.
Yeah.
Peter Davidson's in it.
I've seen the movie Zathura.
Which one?
Zathura.
Zathura?
Oh, the based on the game.
That's
on
the
the
science fiction Jumanji.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the science fiction Jumanji.
It really is when you're going to get down to it.
Although, is Jumanji science fiction? No. Maybe
Yes.
It has kind of a magical aspect to it. There's really
But
no...
magic is science fiction.
Well, yeah, magic is...
Clark's Law.
That's where
it
the
is.
umbrella comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Almost anything that just doesn't happen in real life can almost be science fiction.
That's true.
No, it doesn't happen in real life yet.
Yeah, is a lot of science fiction science fact nowadays, at least partially.
Tablets, cell phones. Cell phones were developed
The tricorder.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
you can take the technology aspect of it and you can say what inspired what. We got a lot of this idea from Star Wars or Star Trek and stuff like that. But I think that is more of a cause and effect type of a thing. I was thinking a lot more esoterically to Billy's question about is science fiction science fact. And I think it depends on how far your society has actually progressed.
Oh, we haven't progressed anywhere.
We haven't progressed anywhere because of we're in a second dark ages right now.
Just about.
In its own way. But the Renaissance will come and we'll boost forward again. But we have like Jules Verne wrote about submarines and men on the moon. We have submarines and we've had men on the moon. So in that case, science fiction from the 1800s is now science fact of the 1900s and 2000s. Mm-hmm. So you can see that kind of evolutionary progression of things. You look back at it now it's a documentary.
Yes.
More than or a wish list than a fantasy aspect of it. So when do we get honest to God spaceships that can travel interstellar? Well, that's probably a little ways off yet. So,
what's his name? Werner von Braun. He was expecting by now we'd have bases on the moon, bases on Mars, space stations. We'd be going interstellar.
we could have had it too. Honestly,
we could've.
if we were determined enough, but our space program fell victim to optics and politics.
It always does.
And that's the thing is we're always going to have to deal with optics and politics. And once we can conquer that short-sightedness, we'll be able to do a lot more. I don't see things a lot of that stuff in our lifetime, but we can hope that they lay the groundwork to get out of their own way so they can do it. That's a thing.
Well,
So
when I was a kid and people landed on the moon, I was saying, "Oh, well, this is going to be
awesome.
This is going to be awesome." In 20, 30 years, we'll have bases, and it's like, no. We
Yep.
kind of totally went backwards from that.
Sorry. That was me.
We actually have people that legitimately
fiction.
don't even
Yeah.
think we landed on the moon.
There's people who still think the world is flat.
That's amazing to me.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
It's
It's I don't understand it, and you can't convince them.
no.
Where's the Jetsons? The Jetsons came around in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that may have been my first
your first sci-fi,
more than Star Trek. Jetsons were before Star Trek for me.
right?
So I'm going to go Jetsons were my first
That works.
Maybe
Star
Johnny
Trek.
Quest.
Johnny Quest was cool. That had a lot of really interesting elements to it. And I think Johnny Quest was cooler by the virtue of the fact that it had no fear to go into those particular ideas. It would hit mysticism. It would hit magic. It would hit science fiction. It would hit ray guns and monsters and aliens and things like that. And so that was kind of neat. I liked that series.
Now, a bit ago, while the reason I just made that noise over here on my computer, I was looking something up, and we're talking about spaceships and traveling, and it got me thinking, Jetsons and the flying car. Kevin Smith made a short with the two characters from Clerks, Randall and Dante, asking how come we don't have flying cars?
I got to hear
and
this.
that's why I pulled this up.
Nice.
Of course, it played loud before. Here we go. Dante and Randall are stuck in traffic.
Right. I remember the
Times like
scene.
this, it occurs to me we were lied to by the Jetsons.
What are you talking about?
According to that show, we were supposed to be tooling around in flying cars by now. You see any flying cars lately? That's the problem with TV. It always lies to us.
Yeah, well, most of us rational thinkers weren't banking on a cartoon to offer us a viable glimpse into the future of technological development.
You don't think anyone anywhere is working on the flying car?
I could care less.
I gotta believe there's somebody else out there thinking about the flying car besides me. Someone who's not afraid to throw their hats over the wall for the good of mankind.
What's that supposed to mean?
Throw their hats over the wall? It means committing to doing something. If more people threw their hats over the wall, we wouldn't be sitting in this mess right now. We'd be zooming over it in the flying car.
I see you've given us a lot of thought.
Kennedy, all right? JFK himself, when he was in office, he stood before the world and he promised them a man on the moon within 10 years. The thing is, nobody had started working on the space program at that point. JFK had no data to back up his claim, no insight into the practicality of space travel. But you know what he had?
Marilyn Monroe.
The man had sack. The man had the sack to stand before the world and say, yo, get this, we're going to the moon. Imagine if you and I were the kind of guys who had the sack to stand before the world and say, get this, we'll all be in the flying car by the end of the year.
Do you know you have a one-track mind?
Hey, what would you be willing to trade for the flying car?
What do you mean?
Say some German scientist comes up to you and he says, I have invented the flying car. I'll give it to you on one condition.
Well, what's the condition?
He's not going to tell you.
Then it's no deal.
The guy is offering you the flying car.
Yeah, but there's obviously a catch.
Who cares what the catch is? It's the flying car. You'll have the only one in the world.
And why is this German scientist?
Jawohl.
Why is he offering it to me for free instead of one of the car companies instead?
What is this, murder, she wrote? Who cares what's behind the mystery? You gonna look a gift horse in the mouth? Just take the car, man.
Not until I know what the catch is.
Fine. The catch is you've got to cut off a foot.
No way.
Are you saying you wouldn't cut off your foot
We
for
got
the
another
flying
4
car?
minutes.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
that
because
selfish.
I know
It's my foot. How am I
Clerks
supposed to
dialogue.
walk?
What walk? You'll have the flying car. Good God, you could sell the design and engineering secrets to the car companies and be a multi-billionaire. After that, you could buy like 50 prosthetic feet.
Which foot? Right or left?
Your choice.
Okay, I'll trade my left foot for the flying car.
Why your left foot?
It's got an ingrown toenail.
Listen to you. Guy offers you the fire from Olympus, that is the flying car, and you trade him a bum foot?
You said I could pick.
So it's a deal then. Your foot for the flying car, you're sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
You can't welch.
I won't welch.
Because the whole world is counting on you.
Why the whole world all of a sudden?
Because the German scientist held a press conference when he made you the offer. He told the world media once the trade is made, you can do whatever you want with the flying car, including mass market and affordable model for consumer purchase.
What the hell kind of scientist is this guy anyway?
One with a lot of free time on his hands. And a foot fetish. So, are you in? You gonna do the right thing here?
Yes.
So it's a deal.
Yes.
Okay. So, then what happens is you find out the guy's gonna take off your foot with a hacksaw.
What?
And no anesthetic.
Oh, screw that.
Come on, it's part of the deal.
You didn't say that before.
Well, you should have paid a lawyer to look over the contract. But come on, it only hurts when they're taking the foot off.
Kevin
After
Smith
that, they'll use a
dialogue.
local on your stump and cauterize the wound.
Well, why can't I have a local before he cuts it off?
Because he is a sick degenerate that likes to inflict pain.
You said he was a man of science.
You don't think Einstein liked hacking guys' feet off, but nobody ever said anything about it because he was one of the greatest thinkers of our time? But come on, man. Take the hit for the team. It's a few seconds of pain for a lifetime of riches and zero traffic.
Fine. As long as I get the local as soon as he's done cutting.
So you want the local?
Who am I, the Marquis de Sade? Yes, I want the local.
All right.
Why'd you say it like that for?
It's just the local he gives you knocks you out, and when you're out, he diddles your peenie.
Oh, come on.
Hey, man, you made the deal.
To trade my foot for the flying car, not to be tortured and molested by some mad German scientist.
And his friends.
What?
Just when he's done with you, he gives his friends a shot at you, too.
Deal's off.
What are you, some kind of homophobe?
No, I just don't want to be diddled by some insane German scientist and his friends after they've hacked my foot off.
Need I remind you, this is for the flying car?
It ain't worth it.
See? You're what's wrong with this country. Hell, with this world, you're always thinking about your own comfort level, never thinking about the rest of us. This country was built on sacrifice, and nearly 30 years of living a life full of selfish foot pampering and intergender intercourse has made you too soft to throw your hat over the wall for the good of mankind. And what's worse is, not only do you ruin it for the rest of us with the flying car, but you completely blow the notion of American nobility in the process. The children of the world have no heroic figure to emulate, so the future of mankind continues on its downward spiral into entropy and mass extinction until all that was once great about the human race lies buried in the primordial stew to which we'll most certainly return, thanks to you and your ilk's refusal to reach for the stars. And you'll forever be remembered as the sad footnote in the book of life, the wimpy little scumbag who could have breached the chasm of becoming and being, but instead opted to cover his own ass and foot in the process.
All right! I'll go through with the deal. I'll let the German scientist hack my foot off, then him and his friends can have their way with me, all for the flying car.
You'd do it with a bunch of guys just to get a car? I thought I knew you, man.
Classic Kevin Smith dialogue, man.
The flying car.
The flying car.
All because we were talking science fiction.
I'm telling you, that. I'm like, wow. Now I've got nothing left at this point. I would say let's just go to break at this point because that was that. I can't top that.
We can't come
I
back
can't
from
compete
that.
with that. That's phenomenal.
Don't know how to even like
Jetsons. Which is basically just the Flintstones in a different setting.
Yes.
And a flying car.
And a flying car.
Meet George Jetson. His boy Elroy.
We're getting sued from so many people for this episode.
We
Sorry,
hope.
Kevin Smith.
We hope.
But that would be great.
This is Wayne's idea.
I could use the publicity right now.
Well, didn't he want to be sued by somebody?
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to be sued by Disney.
Wait until next week when we reenact the entire Star Wars trilogy.
There it is.
There we go. We're back.
Beautiful.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Tanya.
Yes, Christopher.
Help bail me out of this
No, not doing
confluence of insanity.
Yes.
We have events coming up.
We do.
We do. It's a thing. Mini con.
Yes. We have MiniCon coming at you like a spider monkey on December 7th and 8th at the center at Grease Ridge.
Yes, Grease Ridge Center Mall.
In the movie theater wing right near Lollipop Farm.
Yes.
Yes, and Billy will go and go, oh, look at the kitty.
I'm bringing home a sixth cat.
Susan's like, no, you're not.
No, actually, I wonder what movies are opening that weekend. We can all meet at the movies.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
When's Star Wars opening?
19th of December.
Yeah, 19th is a fan thing, and I have my tickets for December 20th already.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, come on down. We'll have vendors get your last-minute Christmas gifts for your nerdy, geeky, needy, whatever friends. Needy?
Needy.
Needy.
We have needy friends. Yes, that
we have
happens.
lots of needy friends. But I believe the Funko Pop people are in. We saw them the other day.
We are.
So
They are.
Their little girl's getting so big.
I know.
She's adorable.
Yes, she is.
I have so many Funko Pops, and not like I was in early on those.
You can never have any and that many.
I
can never have enough.
I can't believe how they exploded.
Yeah,
it's like your
Funko
t-shirts.
Pops exploded. When they first came out, I had a bunch of the DC ones, the Batmans and the Super.
I bet you don't have an Allison Mack.
I don't have an Allison Mack.
They don't even make that one anymore.
There's somebody who will custom make you an Allison Mack.
But did they have a Chloe from Smallville?
No.
Will it be her complete Nexium package?
I asked for, can I have a whip?
Oh, Jesus.
No, I asked, can it have a branding iron?
Okay.
Yikes.
That scares me.
It comes in a complete package of Nikki Klein.
And then I'd like, hey, wait, you guys are doing FC3.
Yes.
Can you get Allison Mack? I'm pretty sure she's cheap and available.
Well, I don't know. It depends on her parole officer right now.
She probably has to do, community service.
So now we're community service?
Yeah, apparently. I'm going to have to say no. That's probably not going to be a thing that happens.
We would make
soon.
the news.
Yes.
We would make the news.
For all the wrong reasons.
We'd be on CNN and...
There is no
you
bad
guys are going to have to
publicity.
explain this to me because I don't know what you're talking
All
about.
right, we'll talk about it later when you're older.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to meet Allison Mack now. I'm with Wayne.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So December 7th and 8th will be MiniCon at the Grease Ridge Center.
What's wrong, Chris?
I'm just laughing at that
and
previous conversation.
I
That's
need
all.
to correct the event from last week. Trivia night is actually November 6th, not the 9th. I had the wrong date. I'm looking at the next two that are scheduled are the 6th and the 20th, and we will see how well the 6th goes. And we might turn the 20th into a game night. We're not sure.
Okay.
But those are the things that are going on, and they're scheduled through April of 2020. So we're there. We can be there. It's just a matter of we want people to come in and come play and hang out with us and
have a good
that
time.
type of stuff.
Have fun. Have a reason to get out of the house.
Yeah. And then, of course, Star Wars comes out on December 19th and 20th. There's a fan.
So looking forward to that movie.
Yes.
So looking forward to that movie. I remember when the trailer hit recently, and I watched. I think I watched it like 4 or 5 times because it was just so cool. But then I watched it on YouTube, and the very first comment was this guy was like, "This movie's just. I'm going to tell everybody now. This movie's going to suck." And I'm like, "Oh, congratulations for your ability to have such great foresight." So you've seen the movie at this point.
No.
How about then he just shut the hell up? You know, I'm so tired of people trying to trash.
Yeah, you guys were doing Nerd World News that Monday night, and I was buying my tickets.
It's just, how,
That meant there was like 2 less people to be on,
I know,
on
seriously.
the phone trying to get tickets when you can get one.
I got 6.
Craziness.
So.
Craziness.
After December, we are going to be in full
mode
to
May 30th and 31st.
Yep. There will be another MiniCon coming at us in the spring before the big show.
Yeah. I don't know how we're going to pull that all off, but okay.
Well, probably another one with no
We're just that good at it, I suppose. Yes. Hey, Billy.
Yes, sir.
I have a question of the week for you.
Okay. Let's hope I have an answer.
If authors covered novels in the way musicians covered songs, which covered novel would you most like to read? For instance, Stephen King covers Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or J.K. Rowling covers E.L. James's 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
She has.
Let's see.
J.K. Rowling covered...
Well, not that one, but
50
she
Shades
made
of
an
Grey?
adult version of... She made some adult version book.
Interesting. But anyway, so I was saying, if you have an author and a story combination, what would you like to see?
Let's see. Let's choose a favorite author. Stephen King is a... See, I read a lot of nonfiction. Shoot. I should have thought harder about this while I was babbling while the flying car was playing. Okay, Kevin Smith covers The Stand.
Nice. Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
I want Kevin Smith to do a version of The Stand. He has written books, so he counts in my world. And
Shatner's written books.
Yes.
there you go. But I want to see what he'd do with the remaining people on Earth after a virus wipes them out, and how Kevin Smith would deal with the sort of describing what goes on through the virus and how it spreads. And so I want to see his end of the
Randall
world.
and Dante.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Randall and Dante survive. That'd be
Silent Bob wouldn't have much dialogue in the book. But he'd be in there.
A lot of action.
Yeah.
You'd see a lot of description.
Even just the regular characters, your Stu and your Randall Flagg, and let's see what Kevin Smith would do at the stand.
Okay. All right, Tanya, what do you think?
I've been mulling this over for a little while, and I wasn't sure which way I'd go, but I think I'm going to have to go George R.R. Martin.
Okay.
And the Twilight Saga.
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
Would die.
Everybody would be dead. Helicopter
Everyone
crashes, STDs.
Vampires
the
would
works.
not sparkle.
No.
No.
It'd be amazing.
It would just be this huge red wedding.
Have you seen the Muppets version of it was Game of Chairs?
No.
Oh, where they did Game of Thrones, but they had the Muppets instead.
Okay.
And they had the Muppet versions of the
Jamie
and all those guys.
Cersei.
And Jamie, after Jamie loses the chair, he says, "Well, I got to go to a wedding." And it was like, this is Sesame Street.
Oh boy.
And it's like, I know the kids don't get it, but everybody who's seen Game of Thrones gets it.
Oh yeah. How about you, Wayne?
Let's see. I don't know. I'd have to say, if you got maybe somebody do Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Who would be a good? Oh, David Weber doing Starship Troopers. That'd be good.
All right.
I'm going to try again. Dr. Seuss doing Jurassic Park.
Oh my God, that'd be freaking hilarious.
Oh boy,
that'd be hilarious.
I just want to see what he'd rhyme with Brontosaurus.
There you go. Do you think he saw us?
Yeah.
For me, because this question is just so out there to begin with, it would be the late Douglas Adams rewriting the 50 Shades of Grey.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because that's just, to me, that's because the only way you can treat it is by making it into a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, also Stephen King rewriting something, anything.
Yeah.
You know, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
You know, or Lord of the Rings. Stephen King rewrites Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
That would be cool in my book, I think. Yeah. That would be a badass story right there.
It would be.
So those would be my guesses on that one. And as always, if you have some 2 cents on that one, if you know of an author and a story that you would like to see them quote-unquote cover, well, go ahead and add it to our Twitter feed.
Cover to cover.
Cover to cover. And let us know what you think about it. So I think we're good for a week.
Okay.
We're good for the week. We're good for the week. Cool. That's it. So thanks again, Wayne, for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Hope to see you again soon. Yeah. You're always welcome. And so for Billy, for Tanya, for me, and for Wayne, this has been, there it is, Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you at full throttle, May 30th and 31st of 2020. The Total Sports Experience in Gates. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us wherever we go, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is. Y'all have a great week. Be good. Have fun.
Madness, I call it.